Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to call the June 25th meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Here.
Kuhn.
Here.
Lysick. Here. Reinke. Here. Rote.
Here.
Stefanski.
Here.
Tenorio.
Here.
Vitale. Vitale. Weigel.
Here.
Grisham.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Our pledge this evening will be led by Alderman Haas. Please rise if you are able and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will move right now into Part D of our agendas, which is citizen participation. This is where the council may receive information from members of the public on matters of interest to them. We keep this period of our meeting to 30 minutes, and we ask that each speaker please give us their name and address for our official record, and sign in at the podium either before or after your comments. And please limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes. Does anybody wish to address the council under citizen participation? Please come up to the podium and give us your info.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Common Council members, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name's Kristen Kaiser. My address is 8132 West Raymond Lane. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a member of the West Allis West Milwaukee School Board, but the information I am sharing and my advocacy are not a position of the board. I'm speaking not as a board member, but as a parent, a teacher, and a longtime human rights campaign volunteer. Tonight, I'm here to advocate that West Allis bans gay conversion therapy. First, I want to acknowledge that the city of West Allis was built on the ancestral lands of the Potawatomi and Ojibwe. Both of these tribal nations have names for two-spirited individuals, members recognized and accepted as LGBTQIA long before the Europeans came here. There were no known laws against people who were engaging in gay activity until the Europeans came. Let's take a cue from our ancestral land keepers to protect and love all peoples, regardless of their sexual orientation. According to the Southern California Law Review, there is no reliable evidence that sexual orientation can be changed, and medical institutions warn that conversion therapy practices are ineffective and potentially harmful. I will also note that in 2011, the Attorney General of the United States stated that while sexual orientation carries no visible badge, a growing scientific consensus accepts that sexual orientation is a characteristic is immutable. I will not go into depth about how these therapies are traumatic, torturous, and unethical measures, which often lead to an increase in depression and suicide to their victims. I want to speak to the movement you, as a common council, have a chance to make. Merely 2 years ago, in 2018, Milwaukee became the first city in Wisconsin to ban gay conversion therapy. Other cities now include Madison, Eau Claire, Cudahy, Shorewood, Racine, Glendale, Sheboygan, and Superior. But that's less than 0.5% of the towns in our state. Only 10% of US states have enacted conversion therapy bans. West Allis has the chance to be part of this early momentum to end a terrible wrong happening and to be part of the change that will protect our LGBTQIA friends and family. Let's be at the forefront of protecting all of our citizens, especially our most vulnerable. The words of transgender advocate Zoe Roberts of Eau Claire say it best. Conversion therapy is an incredibly damaging and highly controversial topic. It is also my belief that everyone, regardless of gender identity, sexual orientation, race, or any other factor, deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. To continue to allow this to occur is a crime against humanity and does not satisfy my belief system. Thank you all tonight for your consideration.
Thanks for your comments. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation?
Well, first off, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Jessica Katzenmeyer, and I want to say first off, good evening, Common Council members, Mr. Mayor, and all the citizens that are here present today. I live at 7139 West Greenfield Avenue, just right down the road. I'm also a candidate for Assembly District 15, which is also this area as we are sitting in right now. I am openly transgender. I am here today to speak in favor of the conversion therapy ban for minors. And the reason why is because Conversion therapy is a cruel practice. It is known as a practice to try to convert somebody from not being gay, not being lesbian, not being transgender. And there's so many sources that say this does not work. Children are the most at risk for this cruel practice, as they have no choice at all if their parents send them to a conversion therapist or not. The resulting emotional trauma that continues failed attempts of conversion therapy lasts for years, leads to depression and even suicide. I want everyone in the council and this room tonight to think about this. Why would anyone want to do this to their own child for wanting to freely express who they are and the world we live in? Why would anyone in their right mind subject their child to electroshock therapy? It's actually been known to use in some of these extreme cases. And why would they even do that to their own child? It just makes me so mad that this happens. This is not a mental illness. Conversion therapy does not work because it is premised on the false notion being LGBTQ is a mental illness. All major medical associations agree LGBTQ identities are a normal variant of human nature. So I urge everyone today to please vote in favor for this ban for conversion therapy on minors tonight, and to make a stance saying that West Allis will never tolerate this practice again within the city limits. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Is there anybody else?
I'm Charles Tenorio. I'm from 3256 South 106th Street, and I think we should ban conversion therapy. It does more harm than any good, and it's very harmful to the youth especially. And also it is proven that it's not very effective on what it's trying to achieve. Thank you for your time, and yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under citizen participation this evening?
Hello. Okay, perfect. I'm Julia Kosin, and I live at 2540 South 78th Street. And I want to just add to the points that many people have already stated, that conversion therapy is bad, not only because it kind of separates the LGBTQ community and kind of puts them aside and hurts them in many ways. And we should be supporting them, not, putting them aside. Many of my friends are part of that community, and I can't even imagine that happening to them. And so, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the audience that would like to address the council under citizen participation this evening?
Sit down.
Thank you, Alderman. Michael May, 837 South 113th Street. It's really exciting to see all of you again, and it's really kind of fun to be on this side of the podium. Ann, excellent to see you as well. I just wanted to quickly voice my support for the ban on conversion therapy as well. And I wanted to quickly address some comments that I've heard from people. One is that if this is not a problem here now, why do we need to have a ban on conversion therapy? Well, we don't have a lot of slaughterhouses in West Allis, yet we regulate them through our land use. We don't have many people with carrier pigeon licenses, but I believe we've got that in our ordinances as well. And we've got a lot of fire hydrants standing where perhaps they'll never be used. I think this is a good measure to put into place so that people who may be interested in practicing this realize this is not a place that they'll be welcome. Another comment I've heard is perhaps this is a state issue, and I really see it as more of a grassroots movement. If the state, oftentimes what'll happen is for the federal government to take action, it'll start at the states. And for the states to take action, it'll start at the local government. And that's why we here in West Allis have an opportunity before us to be on the front of this issue and calling for the ban of conversion therapy. Third, this is just another wedge issue. I want to make sure that you understand, I don't believe it is at all. That we've got 5 strategic goals here in West Allis. I believe this meets 2 of them. Number 2, quality of life. It promotes the quality of life by ensuring a safe and healthy community. And goal number 3, citizen engagement. It creates a sense of community and belonging for those who may be of the gay community. And then lastly, I've heard people expressed that this is really a religious issue. And I think Alderperson Tenorio did a very good job in addressing this by making sure it was put in the resolution that this addresses 4 fee-based practices. So if there was a church out there that wanted to preach against this sort of lifestyle, I don't even call it lifestyle, it's just people, they're born this way. But if they want to preach against that, they certainly have that right, but they cannot practice conversion therapy for a fee. And of course, I don't believe it's good to hide behind religion to cause physical and mental health towards others. So I want to thank you. It's great to be out of the house with COVID and everything. And it's really good to see you all again. So thank you. Ann, always good to see you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to address the council under citizen participation? Okay. Seeing none, we will close citizen participation this evening. Thank you, everybody, for attending and participating. Item E is our standing committee announcements. They will be meeting during recess. And unless no one told me, we are not meeting in this room still. So I assume we will be here for the committee meetings. Item F, the mayor's report. I just have one thing to talk about. A lot of you probably saw in the news that one of the state senators who does represent a portion of West Allis, Senator Tim Carpenter, was assaulted in Madison during some protests a few nights ago. And I exchanged a couple messages with him. He seems to be recovering well, but I just wanted to wish him, from all of us here in West Allis, speedy recovery. He has been a very good representative for the city, a very good listener, always reaching out and inquiring on how certain efforts would impact our community, and he's just been a good advocate. So on behalf of the council and everybody he represents in West Allis, I just want to wish him the best in his recovery. Going on to item G, are there any alderpersons' reports this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderperson Grisham.
I just wanted to address recent concerns in District 3 regarding an uptick of car shopping. For those of you who are not familiar with car shopping, it's a number of individuals that walk through neighborhoods and are more opportunistic. If you're not locking your car doors, they're going in your car and they're taking items. As most recent as last week, I had a neighbor directly across the street from me who unfortunately left his door unlocked, and 3 individuals were able to access and steal his car. One of the points of me mentioning this is I don't think that we're doing a good enough job as a community sharing our information as far as cameras. If you have a home surveillance camera, we do have a program here in West Allis and partner with the West Allis PD. The police department came to my home. I was lucky enough to catch this footage in action. We put alerts out to the community worked together. Those who have Ring, there's a network notification that's sent out immediately if you register your cameras with the West Allis PD. In instances like mine, I have a SWAN camera system. We can still register those as well. But I'm just encouraging everybody to remember to lock their doors. This partnership is very key and vital to our safety and our community, that we're looking out for one another. So take a look in our newsletter. I think it was printed on page 17, and it'll give you the details as to how to sign up or register your cameras. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports from the alderpersons this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Weigel.
I just wanted to mention that Alderman Stefanski and I did attend a couple neighborhood meetings. We had one was virtual and one was in person regarding the redesign and reconstruction of McKinley Park over on like 72nd and Walker, Washington over there. That's part of a larger scale development going on, Cobalt Partners, known as Alice Yards. I think many of you may know that we've got a new hotel that's going to get built over there, and the entire development is going to use up some of the park, but I think we're going to get a park there eventually that the neighbors will be very happy with and the city can be proud of. A consultant has actually been hired to help design the park and get neighborhood impact or neighborhood input on it, and to see what facilities we'd like there. So if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to me or I imagine Tracy, also Alderman Stefanski, on this. There will be at least one more meeting on neighbor input on McKinley Park, so pay attention either to the city Facebook or sign up for getting alerts from the city, or reach out to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other comments from the Alder people?
Mayor Devine.
Who said that? Alderman Tenorio.
Yes, Vince and I attended Burnham Point neighborhood meeting as well to talk about that gravel lot as we saw in the presentation. Great input from the community, and we're super excited about that project moving forward.
Thank you. Any other alderpersons' reports? Okay, hearing none, then we will move on to item H, which is a motion for reconsideration. Alderman Vitale, I believe? Yes. Is this a motion to send back to committee? Yes. Okay, we have a motion to reconsider and send back to committee. Is there a second?
I'll second, Mayor Devine.
Okay. All in favor of sending it back to committee?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
I believe that would be 8-2, with the noes being Alderman Haas and Alderman Stefanski
I don't think I got my no out, sorry.
and
I was a
Alderman
no.
Rote.
My
So we're
apologies.
7-3. Any changes?
Wait, Rosie, what did you just say? You were a no? Yeah, Mayor Devine.
6-4.
I call for a division. Let's-
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas,
No.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Lysick,
Aye.
Reinke,
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Rote,
No.
Stefanski,
No.
Tenorio. Vitale. Weigel,
Aye.
Grisham.
No.
That's 5-5, tie.
I'll vote aye to go back to committee.
Okay. Mayor votes aye, 6-4, goes back to committee.
6-5, correct?
6-5.
Thank you. Item carries. Moving to item I, standing committee reports, we have none.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman Vitale. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in recess.
Okay, and the Administration and Finance Committee will come to order. All 5 members are present. We'll take items 2 and 3 together, and that is communication from the City Administrator recommending the appointment of Claire Woodall Vogue for the position of City Clerk, and a resolution relative to the approval of the employment contract for the position of City Clerk for Claire Woodall Vogue. We've had some discussion about this beforehand. Ms. Woodall Vogue was involved in a prior employment process for the clerk position and was very favorable, so she's well known to us, and the stars have aligned so that there's an opportunity here. Richard and Claire, do either of you want to say anything, have anything to say at all? And if so, please come to the podium because we don't have a microphone for you otherwise.
Well, I just wanted to thank you for adding me to the agenda tonight. It has been a tumultuous 6 months for us in election administration. I'm currently at the City of Milwaukee Election Commission, and I think that you'll find with me as a clerk and an election administrator, I am very plain-spoken and not political, so I would look forward to joining a community where I could administer elections in a nonpartisan fashion and then also execute all of the, legislative rules and procedures that are essential to a clerk's function, as well as records. So if there's any questions of the council, I'd be happy to answer them of the committee. I know it was a little last minute.
It looks like there are any questions. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the resolution and the communication be placed on file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Sorry. Alderperson Reinke.
I have met this young lady, Claire, tonight. I'm very impressed. I did have a concern, though, Claire. that I probably can share with you as well as with the aldermen themselves. You, possibly if you're okayed, will be our new city clerk. Previously, you had worked for Cedarburg, I believe, in this position for approximately 7 months. Cedarburg is a little smaller than West Dallas, and that was my concern. We have a medium-sized city in comparison, and I was, you might say, concerned that you didn't have enough behind you as far as the learning curve in 7 months. However, I did have a conversation with our city administrator who assured me that she would basically be a great mentor for you to assist you with anything that you had questions regarding. So that basically helped calm my fears that we would be getting somebody that was less, you might say, less able to take on this position. Notable, you have been with the Election Commission, and I commend you for that. It sounds like you do a wonderful job, or have done a wonderful job in that position. So I commend you for that. And I basically, in the event that you do become our city clerk, I do wish you well. However, in the future, I would like to see possibly that you would seek out additional achievements for yourself. That's another thing that generally our past city clerks have achieved, certification in different positions. So with that, I wish you well. I hope everything goes according to your plan. And certainly if you have any concerns about the alderman, we'll all be happy to help with you as well.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. And then moving on to item 4, resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into a contract for professional services agreement with one or more financial firms listed within this resolution to provide temporary financing staff for a sum not to exceed $35,000. Can I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion from Alderman Lysick and a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Anything else properly to come before Administration and Finance?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. We're adjourned.
Safety and Development Committee will come to order. All members are present. First item on the agenda is item 5. This is an ordinance to convert taverns and cocktail lounges from special use to permitted uses.
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Haas.
Yes. Can someone tell us why we would want to do this? Maybe someone from development, perhaps, or are we going to use our licensing function to control, to regulate taverns versus zoning? It would seem to me, on first glance, that we would want to have more regulation of taverns and cocktail lounges than less.
I think, well, Mr. Staple, go ahead. You can. There's been, Alderman Haas, there's been duplication of efforts because on a number of things, we've had both License and Health Committee who looks at the ordinance, the licensing, and we've had Safety and Development who looks at the special use permit. And this combines and gives all the responsibility to License and Health Committee to handle any requirements that they feel would be necessary if they look at a tavern application or cocktail lounge that's coming in, if they feel that it needs a site plan, or if they feel there should be a call for a public hearing to have the neighbors involved before approval, that would be up to the License and Health Committee to do it. It wouldn't be automatic just because they're applying for a license.
Okay, and then, yeah, and then Alderman Lysick, I think I would add to my answer part of my own question too, that how our License and Health Committee has more guidance now, or more ability to deny based on the city attorney's opinion and versus how we've acted in the past, and therefore can take more things into account as far as giving reasons to deny or approve.
It's all part of our process of trying to make things easier for business community and not making people come down to public hearing here and then going before the health License and Health Committee and then coming back to Safety and Development. It just simplifies the process.
We're still going to be accomplishing all the objectives that we originally had when we did this. We changed it at the request of former Alderman May and Barzak, I believe, that we made it a special use so that we could get liquor, places that would get selling liquor to be able to clean up their facilities. We will still be able to do that without this public hearing special use portion of it, but the License and Health can order it, go back to Plan Commission for site landscaping and architectural review. We get everything that we're going to get currently, we just don't need to go through the special use process.
Then I move approval.
Second.
So, one last point there too, is that this is a zoning change, or is a change to the zoning law, so effectively what we'll be able to do here is reword it if there's any amendments to the wording. We would have to go to, let me make sure I have it right, the Plan Commission and have a hearing on this one as well.
So this can't be approved tonight?
It can't be approved, I have to go to the Plan Commission first to be approved for the zoning portion.
Oh, okay, so we have to hold this in committee until the Planning Commission makes a recommendation on it.
Correct, and I believe, I don't know, John, do you know when the Plan Commission's meeting? 1 month.
Yeah, they just met.
Okay. Fourth Wednesday.
Yeah, they're the fourth Wednesday.
Yeah, they're, once,
Okay, so we would act on it then at the next council meeting.
I withdraw my motion for approval.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
I do have a question. So it says cocktails and taverns. So this wouldn't cover a restaurant that does not, restaurants still are a special use, if I'm correct? So there's still a public hearing on a straight-up restaurant? And I'm
It's
thinking,
my understanding that yes, if it's just a restaurant, there's still a special use.
okay. But cocktails and, so cocktail lounge, I assume, has, under some definition, no food or essentially minimal food, maybe chips and
Well,
pickled pig's feet?
I look at a cocktail lounge like Station 6.
Okay. And tavern then would be a more traditional location, say like Paulie's, I believe, probably, right?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yep, or Benno's or whatever.
And I guess I just would like to make sure that there's still a public hearing on any of these new licensees. And I guess, I mean, we're saying it's going to be up to the License and Health Committee.
Correct.
Because when we see the impacts that these kinds of businesses have on, so if they're doing food, when is it a restaurant and not a tavern? So if a place doesn't have alcohol, they automatically still get a special use?
No, they have to come in for a special use.
Okay, the place doesn't have alcohol, that's a special use.
Yes.
But if they do have alcohol,
They don't need the
They
special
don't-
use. They go to the License and Health Committee that controls everything out of the License and Health Committee then.
so we're actually making it.
One-stop shop.
I understand what we're doing, but we're making it more difficult for a license to grant someone to open a restaurant that doesn't serve alcohol. We're automatically making them have a public hearing. I think maybe we want to, well, I guess because a restaurant would not get a license from the License and Health Committee. Is
Right.
that why?
Right.
Okay.
It's the zoning law that
It's
controls.
a zoning law. Okay. I just wanted to continue to hear from the neighbors when we're opening a new place in their neighborhood that serves food and alcohol.
Yes, and I think we still want to hear when they're opening a new restaurant. in the
Yes, and we
neighborhood
still
because
will,
there are-
and that
There's
continues.
traffic issues
Yep.
and the odors and
Yep.
everything else.
No,
so
don't have to tell me.
drive-throughs, so it's two different things.
Yeah, no, I get it. Okay, thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we acted on earlier, that was the Paulie's. at our meeting at 6 o'clock. The next item is item 7. This is an ordinance to repeal the local quota for alcohol licenses.
Motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to repeal the quota. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 8 is an ordinance to ban conversion therapy, that's license and health.
Oh, yeah, you kept going. Very good.
No.
Yep.
Missed that on the bottom.
I think we were licensed in health on that repeal.
That's your committee.
No, it says safety.
I
device.
apologize,
Safety?
Alderman
No.
Vitelli.
It's license.
Yes.
Oh, it does down there. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah, it's going to planning commission. We don't.
No.
Yeah, we don't refer anything to planning commission, the staff automatically does that.
Yeah, Alderman Lysak, I appreciate you try to take some of the load off my back.
Yeah. Just trying to help you out.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, please.
Is there
move to adjourn safety and development.
Moved to adjourn, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. Alderman Vitelli, you're up.
Yeah, license and health comes to order. I believe all the members are present. We have an ordinance, number 7, ordinance to repeal local quota for alcohol
Move
license.
to approve?
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
No discussions, eh?
Discussion.
Anybody has got any questions or discussions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alderman
discussion.
Road?
Thank you. What number are we going to be using now for the high end, or is it just infinity? And maybe Alderman Stefanski would like to answer that?
My thought was the state, whatever the state's regulations are, we go by that.
And what is that number?
If I remember, it's 142. Don't quote me on that, but I think
Well, that's my point. Nobody knows what it is. It's like a
No, we
moving
know.
target every
it's
time it
changed
comes before
multiple
us.
times.
Maybe Attorney Serwin would know?
I don't know off the top of my head, I know we have it listed, I thought it was 147.
147.
That's the number that sticks with me too, 147, but
Do you know off the top of your head or no? Now, it is a state requirement, and so that's where the line will be drawn at this point then. We are under, I think we lop ourselves off, we stopped it at some point. And so this would remove that. The concept being kind of in line with the zoning discussion before, that the common council or the license and health committee has discretion over any new license, whether we want it or not. We've added conditions to that, and so this would open up the field, but the committee would still have discretion over whether or not you want to allow it or not. A new Class A B or C.
and could you give us, or me, and the rest will be listening, some examples, like you were doing this afternoon with me?
Sure. I had put on a training previously that I referred back to for the License and Health Committee, but basically the state law and case law on point is that there are things like you don't like the location of the community has indicated they don't want to bar at that location anymore. Past problems with the landlord or tenants at the location. Community's impact, there is a case law supports moral character as a condition to deny a license. And so there's a whole mess of characteristics that the committee can consider at this point if you want to deny a license. What that means is this is a discretionary license. You may issue the license if you'd like. If one plan comes in and you don't like that plan at this neighborhood corner bar, but somebody comes in the very next week with a different plan or even a similar plan but doesn't have a history or conviction history that the other applicant had, you can say yes to one and no to the other. It's certainly, it's as long as there's a rational basis to proceed and the person's qualified, or rational, as long as there's a rational basis to deny, then the committee can deny for that reason. And that's what my job, the city attorney's job would be to help guide that process.
And one more, Mr. Chair, I mean.
Yes.
An amendment to add 147?
No, we wouldn't have up to the state amount. We wouldn't have to have or notify a number. We would just rely on the state number of licenses.
Okay, but nobody knows what that state number is, that's my point.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I know that I asked for that number. I can certainly find it in a moment. I'd like to have that. Let me see if I can find it.
If the members' wishes would be to hold it until we find more details about the limits, like the state is demanding, for every municipality to follow, maybe we should do so. But I understand Ms. Servin is kind of checking up on the issue. So perhaps we can move to item 8 and we're holding it at this time. Do the members agree on that? Item 7, we hold until,
Mr. Chair, if I
Yes.
may, based on this ordinance for repeal, we had discussed this before about it, as far as the limits or approvals the reason that it was put in place in the first place was under the prior city attorney's advisement.
advice, yes.
And since we've had a turn of events and a new city attorney, he advised that this was not really necessary to have. We had the discretion before to go over the quota, even though it was self-imposed. The purpose in this repeal was to take the handcuffs off, so to speak. We're still not going to exceed that limit. We still have the discretion. We still have legal representation on denials if we so choose. So I don't think that we need to hold it per se. If you want to wait, Alderman Rote wants to wait, for that number for clarification. I'm fine with that, but I really think it'd be best to just move forward with the motion.
If the members wishes to holding it, we can hold it until we get further information. Is the members agree on that?
I'm fine if we want to hold it and just go back to it as soon as Nick gets those answers. But I want to hold it till our next committee meeting.
I'm fine waiting until he gets the information.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wait
just
until-
don't want to have it hold until next
Yes.
meeting.
Right.
So let's move on to the next item.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
What criteria does the state use for the quota?
well, that's what we tried to find out.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
that's
cri-
what we tried to find out.
The criteria?
Yes,
Mr. Chair?
yes.
I believe the state quota was based on population, and it was population at the time that the quota system was
City used
initiated.
population.
Yeah, so the municipality's population at the time that the state initiated the quota, that is where how those numbers were reached. So,
Thank you, Alderman Mario Ivo. Thank you. So we can move on to the next item, item 8. An ordinance to ban conversion therapy involving children.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
first I want to thank the members of the community who came out to speak during citizen participation. It takes a lot of courage to speak before a governing body expressing your beliefs. I sponsored this ordinance because I believe that West Dallas needs to show its support and solidarity with the LGBTQIA+ community. Conversion therapy, the general consensus from the medical community is inhumane. It's child abuse. I spoke with the health commissioner about this as well, and he is in agreement. This ordinance has the support of the health department. And I encourage the members of the License and Health Committee to vote in support of this ordinance to ban conversion therapy in West Dallas. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alderman Tenorio. Any questions from the members of the License and Health?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
can we send this back to the Health Committee to get a formal Health Commissioner opinion?
That's up to the members. If you guys wish to hold it, we can just.
I would like to hold it and send it to the Health Committee, excuse me.
Committee, sure, that's fine. But before we move on with the next item, I'd like to address some of the feeling or that I have, in reference of the resolution. I feel that it's totally wrong for the medical industry, to force or maybe encourage families, with children's, they have this type of problem with the conversion issues, of I feel that West Dallas, I would like to know first what really the percentage families that are affected. I understand that it could be in the future something to stabilize or something to put on the books. But the fact is, the way I felt, and like I said, I'm totally in favor what really is going on. I mean, people I believe should be free. To me, the gender should be treated fairly, just like everybody else. I know friends, I know people personally, they're LGBTQ, and but those people are just as great people than anyone, So to me, I do not underestimate their life, really. They're human just like everybody else in this globe, So just I'm kind of opposing it, that we are moving to resolutions that I feel they're more on a state level, which sometimes the state is slow just as well. They're not doing sometimes the way the situation they do arise within the state, they probably they kind of digest it a little longer than what they should. But that's what the policymakers do sometimes, to make the right decision. So in my strong approach, it's not the fact that people, they should continue on and on their choices in life, and the choices should be how they were born, and that's what it should be. Should be nobody to tell them you're going to change your life. To me, that's totally insane. It's not really appropriate to go through those evil, I call it terminology that I'm using, that's an evil therapy to influence a young child, 12, 13, up to 18 years old, to go through this type of a trauma, which it won't help them anyway. I think that's where they were born, and to me, that's the way it should be. So just I'm not in favor, really, for a city, for a municipality, and that's my opinion, to passing a resolution. We can just pass a resolution which is not really affecting the city of all. Of course, people live here, but the fact is that's something that we're not really involved with medical or any other big concern like this one. To me, that's a biggest concern. To me, it should be more in a higher level, and I understand the city could support it, municipality could support it, but we don't have at this point really the percentage of people, they go through this conversion therapy. I don't think we have that. I don't know what the percentage really is. If it's
Mr.
just-
Chair, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Just in light and time and keeping things moving here, I did do some research today. I want to commend Jessica, Kristen, Charles, and Mike May for coming forward and speaking before us, for one. I had multiple emails and people reaching out today, specifically Tony Snell, Tracy Campbell, Shelley Gregory, Shannon Mission, David Kay, and again, Mike May. If we're speaking on a personal side to things, conversion therapy, as I know it, is a deplorable act. It's appalling, and it shouldn't exist. However, some of the research that I did today, one of the top questions I had to those that did call and speak with me is, what was your experience, or has been your experience, and has this happened in West Dallas? Because that's what we're discussing, conversion therapy ban in West Dallas. I understand what the movement is about. I support and commend the efforts on that. There could be discussion as to whether it's state level, local level, and we'll do that. But based on some of the conversations that I had today, and I want to speak directly about a conversation with the executive director of the LGBT Center of Southeast Wisconsin, Barb, in which I spoke with, because they were at the helm of having the ban in Racine. So I wanted to know how where the data was. And I thought at first when I contacted them that we'd get the data for West Dallas, but I put a call through to the Milwaukee Center and I did not get a call back there because no one could give me an answer as to what therapist in West Dallas this has been taking place at. And I think that's very important. This is a huge issue. It's very important to know the facts, get the data, and discuss after that. I don't feel I really was able to get that information today. So I would be in support to hold this and put it to, and Angelito, thank you for bringing it forward. And if you spoke with the health commissioner, we didn't get that information. And I think that should be the hands that it goes to, so we can hold this over and bring it back to committee so we actually know what we're voting on for the city.
Mr.
If
Chair?
that makes sense.
Mr. Chair? Correct me if I'm wrong, but Alderman Roth, you have a motion, correct? When you were
I
speaking?
said I would like to send it back to the Health Commission. I
that's
will
what
put
he
it in a
said.
motion form. I will make a motion now to send it to the Health Commission.
Second.
Mr. Chair,
As discussions, Alderman Tenorio.
if I may, we do have all the information on conversion therapy. It is wrong, it is inhumane, it is child abuse. And if you don't trust me, I've spoken with the health commissioner, and we have the information that the consensus from the medical community is that this should be outlawed in our city. In a show of support for our LGBTQIA+ community. You've heard from the community this evening, and I'd encourage the members of the License and Health Committee to vote on this today and not kick the can down the road. Thank you.
So there's an motion to hold it from any License and Health Committee members?
There was a motion and a second.
There was a motion and a second. All in favors?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So now we go back to item 7. Ordinance repeal local quota and alcohol license. Nick?
By state law, we have 137, and we have 10 reserve licenses. So we have 147 licenses that can be issued for Class B. I don't think there is a quota system on Class A's. It's determined by how many licenses were issued in 1997 in good faith, and then there's an equation basically that's used in the state law to determine how many reserve licenses we have to go above and beyond that initial state quota. So 147 is our number. We drew the line then at 130, and we're actually at 132 or 133 now, because every time you go above quota, it requires a public hearing at this point.
Any questions from the committee members for Mr. Serwin?
Mr. Chair, then 147 is our number, correct?
Yes.
And I don't know why that's important. That just seems to me we should have some sort of cap, an actual number that we know what it is, so.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
That is the maximum that we can issue.
Okay.
The committee and the council can treat it just like in your brains of having a 130. You can decide internally, I don't want to go above 135, and never issue one past that if you don't want to. This is removing basically the step or the need to go to a hearing to go over quota. You can still have a hearing, you can still go through everything else you want. It's basically removing a barrier that's currently in place. It's really just a limit on the committee or the council at this point, since the committee and council have discretion to do this by themselves without this quota system.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes? The ayes have it. So we move on to item 9. Request to amend premises of Antigua Latin Restaurant LLC located on 6207 West
Move
National
to
Avenue.
approve.
Oh,
Second.
I'm glad I heard that point. I'm very effective, very effective. All in, yes,
This one too, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I don't want to be speaking so much, but this one is currently in the process of being worked out. The city attorney has opined that this should not be going through the PEDLET process. It's going to be in a parking lot, a municipal parking lot, and so instead, what we're doing right now is negotiating a lease arrangement. I had discussions with the agent or owner today. They have gotten so far as having the insurance requirements nailed down. They have the bond requirements nailed down. They're working with engineering and planning and development to work out final details in terms of what's actually going to be built. And I'm working on the lease right now. So it might be more appropriate, as opposed to extending this out when they don't have an exact plan or the premises what it look like right now, to table it for a session so that we can, staff can figure out and finalize the details and get a better plan then.
So you want us to table?
It's up to the committee. That would be my advice, is give us a bit more time to get this.
But at the same time, we can approve up to the contingency that those questions will be approved,
Mr. Chair?
work out with the city attorney, right? We could do that, right?
You could. My concern is that the only information that I have about where this is to be situated is 2 parking spaces in the municipal parking lot. I don't know where that actually is yet. I don't know if it's been described. I'm not sure if the committee or council has the exact location that this is going to be extended. And so when a premises gets extended, that is where alcohol can be sold. I don't have that information for the council right now, what that actually is.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I retract my motion until we can review more of the details.
So we
And
just
a motion
put
to
on
hold.
then, the
Motion to
committee
hold.
then, until
I
we
also
get
withdraw my motion.
proper information and details about the applicant. So I believe there's no other things, resolution or anything else in front of us. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I believe we need a second and a vote.
Yes.
Second.
You don't need a,
No.
We don't?
you don't
No,
need
we
to
don't.
hold
No.
something, you
I
don't need
stand
to vote on
corrected.
a hold.
I'm sorry.
We're just holding it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'm just learning.
Yeah, 10, 11,
10?
12.
Yeah, we did vote on those items already, through license and health.
I remember doing 11 at 5:30 meetings, and was 10 already handled too?
No. Well, 10, we skipped that one, right? Was it 11 then?
11 was handled at the 5:30 meeting. I think
Yes.
10 still needs a vote. Those are all the applications that either didn't have anything substantially
Yes.
related, but have already been approved by, in subcommittee to be approved.
To
I make a
approve, okay.
motion that we approve.
Approve those.
Second.
Oh, and second? Oppose?
What about 12?
The ayes have it.
I don't think anyone said aye, Vince.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I didn't motion, we didn't vote. So we now got to do all in favor.
All in favors?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I mean, those glass things, sometimes it's hard.
That's okay, you just got the wheels going
Yes.
today.
So anything else come in front of the License and Health Committee?
Item
I make a motion that we
Item
adjourn.
12.
Second.
12.
Aren't we
Item
going to
12.
Do we have
act
12?
on 12?
12.
Oh, we do.
Oh, my apologies. I take my motion back.
Motions?
What about number 12, Mr. Chair?
We're on 12.
Yeah, we're on
What
12.
12, we act on it already.
Didn't we? We did
did
vote
not.
last time, so that shouldn't be on the
Well, we
agenda.
vote,
Oh, the committee.
we're good on that one.
No, Mr. Chair, we,
Yes.
so last
Well,
week
that was
we
for the
had-
extension.
I'm sorry, what?
Last week, didn't we vote on the extension?
Last week, there's 2 premises that were being considered. There was Polly's Pub, and there was Polly's Field Trip. Polly's
Right.
Pub was approved, Polly's Field Trip was held until today, to have further discussion. There was discussion that was had, I believe, in safety and development at 6 o'clock, and then this is for, the extension of the premises. What we did last time in license and health was went through a whole list of, I think there were 7 things that ultimately got approved.
Yes.
Yep.
For the Polly's Pub location. This would be a very similar process to that, if granted, going through that same list of conditions that could apply to that special event permit.
Yeah, I just felt that last time we just voted for both of them, see, that's what I thought, but we did for one.
The only one that was approved was Polly's Pub.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so Polly's,
On the special event permit.
this is Polly's Field Trip, I believe.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't know the answer.
Motion to approve.
So, seconds,
Second.
any questions?
Are there any conditions being placed on the license?
The conditions, go ahead, I'm sorry.
The last date you had, the permit was approved with the following conditions. Subject to the approval of city departments, building inspection, fire department, health department, establishment operators and agents subject to this permit maintain the premises and events in conformity with their site, landscape, and architectural plans.
Yep.
Approved on May 27th. The permit be valid from certain dates, so starting in September, or it was approved the day of through September 7th, 2020, which is Labor Day.
Through
and
October.
And thereafter, on Fridays and Saturdays only until October 31st. And then we list the dates that those include. Permit will automatically expire on November 1st, 2020. The hours of operation shall be Sunday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Friday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., if I said that right. Okay. Sound system and noise projection shall be in compliance with local ordinance and shall not cause disturbance to surrounding community. At the time this was being proposed on that, there was this concept of no like dueling bands.
Correct.
That portion was removed since this was only approved as there was nobody to duel. And so if the committee wants to add something on only having one band playing one premises per time, that's where you would add it. Each premises contemplated in the premise must maintain appropriate daily cleanup, maintenance, garbage, refuse control, and then city staff will review the use and compliance of the special use or special event permit, every 30 days, and may provide updates to the common council or enforcement mechanisms as needed. So it was approved last time on Polly's Pub.
Okay, and I would like to add a stipulation, and that would be to put that in wording that there will be no, what we stated as Battle of the Bands. I think Mr. Budiak had stated that he was going to have smaller bands or one or two musicians at Field Trip? Okay, all right, that we stipulate that as well. And I think one of the other stipulations were that we could review this. If there are noise complaints or things get out of hand, we can review on a monthly basis if we so choose.
And the way that would work is that staff would, well, the way it was proposed, at least in the previous one, is that staff would review those and then would bring basically a revocation hearing. Once this is granted, you can either, you just have to take away the whole thing. You can't just curtail it, it has to be a revocation. So we proceed in that capacity if it becomes a problem, revoke.
Okay, and does that need to be worded in there, or?
No, I mean, that's how it was worded.
That's just how it is?
If you're adopting the previous, the language I just read, and the previous version with Polly's Pub, but adding the no battle of the bands type language, to be figured out by staff, and then maximum of a 3-piece band at that location, is that what you're asking for?
Correct.
Okay. And then I know when it was discussed before, there was the concern over the potential maximum capacity.
Yes, I was going to note that as well, that the capacity is not to exceed the 73 from indoor and outdoor use. And being Mr. Budiak had mentioned that center lot, are we going to just make that exclusive to just the indoor bar area and just the one lot? That it's not to exceed to the second lot? Did I see the description right on that, Marty?
Yeah.
If I may, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I believe when I met on site with the applicant that he wanted to use both lots for this, but he was going to still retain part of the north lot for parking. Is that correct, Polly? Okay. And if I may also, it seems like the applicant may have a question. Did you, when the attorney was reading something, it seemed like you had a question about something.
Originally, when we had gone to after Labor Day, we had done Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to a certain time. This one said Friday and Saturday, so Sundays, to like 7 or.
Okay, so the post-Labor Day should be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with maybe a shorter hours on Sunday?
I think like by 7.
Okay.
If there's Packer games, might be something like that. You don't understand? I wasn't sure. Because I was under the impression that Molly's and the other ones that were expedited were Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with the same caveats to go through September after Labor Day, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only.
If they're Packer games.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Mr. Budiak, I was under the impression that the weekend was just Friday and Saturday, that it wasn't inclusive to Sundays, but Sundays would be a shorter day.
He's saying Sunday would be 7.
Okay.
I would think 7 would be reasonable, yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
The games are over by that time, 3 o'clock game and the other games.
I was just saying that Polly's Pub was, I didn't believe the motion, which was going on here, is just Fridays and Saturdays.
Yes, exactly.
We can, I'll find out how to address that if the committee wants to bring that back up and amend that plan to include Sundays. I'll find a way to do that.
I think after Labor Day, I think that's what our concern was, Alderwoman Ranky had also said with school being back in session. So I think that that is pretty gracious to just do a Saturday, Friday and Saturday.
And if that's, it's your motion at this point? Is
Yeah.
that the motion?
Well,
Is that, sorry if I can ask a question, is that just to us, or is that everybody who has the extension of time?
well, we aren't discussing everyone else, we were discussing you.
It was already passed, and I was under the impression that whoever got it expedited had to follow the same rules. That's what we were talking about.
Could I have?
There's been no issue with Polly, so that's why I was wondering.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that many aren't really going past Labor Day, but yeah, those provisions would be, in my opinion, I don't know, I guess I would need guidance on that. You know, I guess that's, are we looking at as,
Well-
we don't look at it as individually. So if we're using this as a format or a plan going forward for other establishments, I would assume that's the case unless there would be special request.
Yeah, just because I'm assuming Station 6 would want to be able to have, because I know they did an extension of premises, would want to have stuff on Sundays. You know, or Brass Monkey might want to do stuff on Sundays. So I don't know if they even know what the limitations or expectations are from you know, with Antigua, putting something in, can they not serve people out there on Sunday?
Well, we could always hold this over if you'd like, so we can maybe get more of those answers.
I'm just wondering, because I was under the impression that it was
Okay.
Sundays, because Sunday's a weekend. So that's what
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I may,
Alderman
if I may make a suggestion to keep this moving. So what we're talking is about Sundays after Labor Day right now. I think we have time to review that, and I think, so that, well, and we want some consistency with everybody else. I think if we can just go forward as it is right now, and we'll have a meeting or two before then, you know, to sort this out, rather than hold this over this one tiny issue about Sundays after Labor Day, which is months away, you know.
Yeah, I don't
maybe
believe
not.
we should hold it.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that is, many of those points and discussions were already addressed the last meeting that we had. I think some of them, I think, to me, it seemed like we,
Thank you.
I mean, we tried to go over again, fine, but I think many of those issues were kind of brought up in front of us, you know, so, yes, go ahead.
There was a motion by Alderperson Grisham with those
Yes.
items, basically the same as the Polly's Pub, with the addition of some band restrictions and then capacity restrictions, potentially to be addressed later with some other days. And that's the motion on the floor.
That is the motion.
Any seconds?
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Opposed?
What are we, could you clarify, please, what we're voting on?
You want to clarify what we're voting on? What just was discussed?
Mr. Chair, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
The vote is on whether or not to grant the special event permit with the conditions in place that I had read. I can read them again if you'd like. There would be about 8 conditions on Polly's field trip. There are currently 7 on Polly's Pub. The only additional would be the Battle of the Bands type language that I would add in, and then with maximum being a 3-piece band, which is the motion right now, and then a maximum capacity of 73 for that premises alone.
So we're voting on the event itself
You're voting to
with the
grant-
stipulations.
You're voting to grant a special event permit for the period of time starting now until September 7th, and then after that point, Fridays and Saturdays until October 31st, under certain time restraints.
Thank you.
So any further questions? Do we have a second under the motion?
No, we had a second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
The aye have it. Thank you. Anything else coming forward to the License and Health Committee members?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Opposed? The aye have it. Thank you.
Your turn.
Okay. Call the advisory committee to order. The minutes reflect that all members are present. Number 13 on the agenda is the appointment to the West Allis Administrative Appeals Review Board
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
of Alderman
Second.
Marty Weigel. It's been moved. Is there a second?
A second, but I don't really know that guy that well, you know? I have to
It's been
kind of
moved and second.
digest it.
Yes.
Any discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 14, we have the reappointment to the West Allis Administrative Appeals Review Board of Mr. Wayne Clark.
Move to approve?
Second.
Been moved and seconded.
How old is he now? 100 years old?
Discussion?
I'm just saying, I know Wayne pretty well, that's why.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Move to adjourn?
No.
No? We're still going? Oh, jeez. Sorry, did it again.
We have to go back to the resolution to sponsor a parade organized by Alderman Tracy Stefanski. It came back to committee, so what is the discussion regarding the parade?
Madam Chair, if I may? I had some questions all along, and I did get most of them answered on how the parade would actually occur, and I still have some questions, and maybe Alderman Stefanski can clarify them. I am in favor of a 4th of July parade, but I realize that the primary reason we didn't schedule one in the first place is still with us, the COVID issue, okay? And then I think we've all seen an email from Alderman Stefanski about the prohibitions in the parade: no political signs, stickers, banners, flags, no political parties, no Confederate flags, no floats or trailers. It would be limited to certain kinds of motor vehicles, motorcycles, classic cars, trucks. I believe it says not pickup truck. It says yes pickup trucks?
It is pickup trucks, but they're not allowed to carry people in the
Yeah,
truck beds.
yeah,
Everybody has to be in the
Yeah.
cab of the vehicles. They can't be hanging out
and tractors, and there's a variety of prohibitions here. When I asked Alderman Stefanski how this was going to be managed on the day of, he said that he would be making the call here on who's allowed in and who's not. And I guess I have a couple questions for the alderperson, because when I asked him if he was going to stand at the start of the parade and look at every vehicle, he said at the time that no, he was planning on actually participating in the parade with the American Legion flag
Riders Association.
and that he was going to delegate this responsibility to a volunteer. And I guess I don't think we understood that. Not from the emails that went back and forth, and I don't know who the volunteer is. He assured me the volunteer would follow his same rules. And then, there's certain things about language that, so no political stickers. I guess that, to me, that's a pretty big question. If it supports, say, the Second Amendment, is that considered political?
Yes.
So that you're saying that would be, so if it had a pro-Second Amendment sticker on a bumper, that vehicle would either have to take the sticker off.
Or cover it up.
Or cover it up, okay, because I think that's different than what you told me. So if it had like a pro-choice sticker, that would be political?
Yep.
Okay, so, I
Can't
guess,
be anything with any political candidates, any political agenda, nothing. It's strictly American flags, branches from the military, POW, MIA.
okay.
Some of the groups can have, have been asked, they have a flag for their group, like a banner, like we would normally have for praise. Some people in some of the groups have those window clings. They all will be removing that are political based. They will be removing them. And at the beginning of the parade, well, when we're staging, I will be walking down the whole staging area and making sure everybody's complying with that. I will only be participating with the American Legion Riders at the beginning of the parade, so when we're done, when we reach the end, I would be coming back and standing back where my delegate is that's monitoring these people.
Okay.
And I would be monitoring again for the rest of the parade.
Okay, and if someone says, no, I'm driving my truck in the parade, what are you prepared to do to that person?
Make them run me over because I'm going to stand in front of them.
I think the other concerns I do have about this is that we're making ourselves highly visible in this time when we've seen these unauthorized protests going on around the community. And I think we may be making downtown West Dallas a magnet for a protest that would not be getting an authorization from the city of West Dallas to participate and may choose to tack on to the end of your event, or I'll say the city's event, tack on to the end of the city's event, or cross over in front of the city's event, or possibly even come the opposite direction, and I'm just wondering if we're making ourselves a target for that, and I know I don't think you have an answer for that, and I don't think anybody has an answer for that, and that does concern me. These protests have been going on. I think they vowed to go on like another 190 days by now. They've been saying they're going to go on for 200 days. And then one other thing that I have that concerns me is the brand of the parade. The West Dallas Business Improvement District, which represents the businesses on the street, had a board meeting earlier this week. And it was a regularly scheduled board meeting on a variety of topics. And they did add this to the agenda because they did not take a stance on this. And they chose not to. And it was for a variety of reasons. But the board members did have some concerns about it. The one I cited. And then another concern that came up is the West Dallas 4th of July parade, which is actually an independence celebration. It's usually on July 2nd, has a very good reputation. It's an excellent parade. I think we've all participated in one way or another. My family has participated in it for decades, literally. The coaster wagons, all that stuff. And my concern is that if people come to this parade, expecting a parade, as they've known a parade in the past, they bring the kids a coaster wagon, the blanket, the folding chairs, they sit up, they get the spot they want to sit, in the shade, not the sun, and there's no marching band. There's no walking color guard. There's no kids carrying, pulling the summer playgrounds that are represented. It's essentially just a motorcade of motor vehicles driving by, a variety of motor vehicles, a bunch of flags and stuff like that. And I just don't want people, especially those people that don't know understand the details of what we're going through here, I don't want them to come to our parade and be disappointed and go, oh, gee, this is what passes for a parade nowadays? No, I think everybody is aware of the COVID issue. I think there's maybe 2 people who don't know, probably in the whole planet. But I think couple other communities are doing events and aren't concerned about COVID, and we may see that. I'm not sure. Does anybody know, is West Bend having a parade? Are they having a traditional parade?
From what I understand, yeah, because my American Legion Riders group is kicking the parade off.
Okay.
I don't know the details of it, but I know we were asked to participate in it.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's brave or
Yeah.
reckless, but I guess my point is I don't want a bunch of people, maybe not from outside the community, coming to our city and seeing our parade and saying, well, that's kind of a weak parade, West Dallas. That's the best you can do. It's the best we'd be choosing to do. And I know it'll be in the media. I know the JS Online did a story on it already. I assume there was one in the print edition. I do know that Journal Sentinel's Instagram did a poll. Should West Dallas do their parade, connected to the story? And the poll results, now obviously it's an Instagram poll, so we know it's worth, but it was 72% no. It was 28% yes. Not generally a fan of the Journal Sentinel. Obviously it's not scientific data, but I think there's a real feeling in the community yet that this is not a wise idea.
Madam Chair?
Well,
Alderman King.
My only concern with the reviewing of it also was the potential of unauthorized protesters. So I was just wanted a little bit more information on if that were to happen, how many police officers do we have? Is it the parade gonna shut down and we're gonna say, okay, don't engage, don't, you know, we're gonna stop this now, they're blocking the street, we're gonna end this, let's go home and still celebrate America with our family. I'm just a little bit, that's what my concern is it's gonna be in the media, and if you get some people who are like, let's go stop that, this is the perfect platform, then what?
All I can tell you is I would confer with the police on that, because they are going to be, as of right now, they're going to be doing the blocking of the roads.
Okay.
And would have a police car at the beginning and the end of the parade.
Okay.
That's where I would go with that.
Okay. That's my only concern with it.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Vitale?
thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to begin with the history of West Dallas. You know, this, of course, is the first time that it been really occurred, the fact that not only West Dallas canceled the 4th of July parade, but of course it's for a great reason. And many municipalities done just as well, because what really is going on right now with this pandemic. And to me, I mean, I'm sorry that I have to use the word, it's a slap on the face for the city of West Dallas leadership, really. To me, to have a motorcade parade which might be few vehicles go down on Greenfield Avenue, when, if you respect a vet, what he should do, the 4th of July day, just take a ride and go to the VA cemetery. That's the way you respect the dead of the veterans. That's the way you take respect. Just go over there, take a ride over at the VA hospital, and just pay respect there. To me, that's the conclusion of respect. Not just go down on Greenfield Avenue, which for many years, this never happened. It happens now. And all the communities within the county, within the area, they cancel all the events. We don't have no summer fest this year. We don't have anything, no state fair. But we have to have a parade because Alderman Stefanski, he wants to have something for the community, you know? Well, I mean, who's tried to impress? I'm sorry that I've talked that way, but I was foolish for me to approve it last week when I voted for, because, I mean, I had the resentments about it, because it was not an appropriate thing for the city such as West Dallas or any other community that determined it's not a good idea for any community to have events, to have a 4th of July celebration. You think, I like it? I don't like it. But the fact is, why we have to have a motorcade? You know, somebody going down on Greenfield Avenue with few cars, maybe a few tractors. For what? For what? Well, really, to me, that's a misrespect the municipality, the leadership of this city, and the citizen of City of West Dallas. Because many people are disappointed about it that I talked to. There's no reason to have. If many parts of our city, the state, they cancel everything. Why? Why the pandemic is so great in this country yet? Because people avoid it. They think it's not going to affect me. That's not true. We are on the rise. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. And that's why I'm disappointed about it. I mean, I got a family, I got kids just as well. And I'm just as patriotic, even though I came here when I was 18 years old. I'm just as patriotic than anybody. And respect. I fly the American flag in front of my house many times. But when I hear somebody just for glory, to me, I call this a glory. Well, if you have a glory, then you should go to the VA hospital and go see those poor people. They die for everybody. That's the bottom line. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Alderman Stefanski.
All right. First of all, we're going to talk about respect. Memorial Day, they canceled everything at the VA hospital, and a truck enthusiast group, tried to raise enough flags to put them on the VA buried members' graves. And all they were able to get was 5,000 flags, and there's 30-some thousand VA buried service personnel buried at the VA hospital. That, to me, is disrespect. The respect was from the truck group that went to try to do something for it. That was respect. Number two, I participated in a Memorial Day parade and flag placing at the cemetery on Highway 100 and Capitol Drive at Pine Lawn. That was respect for our dead. This is not a glory parade. This is to celebrate the independence of our country. And because we didn't have anything, because I've been participating in parades for people's birthdays around the city and people's anniversaries around the city, I thought this would be a great idea to come up with something like this to at least give people in this community something. So you thinking that it's a glory parade is dead wrong, and I'm actually offended by that. So I'm going to share with you some of the groups that have already wanted to participate in this. And keep in mind, during the parade on the 4th of July, the III Shriners get paid a donation by the city to participate. They reached out to me asking if they could be part of the parade, volunteering for it, not even getting a donation. Number two is the tractor group from that's run by Jerry Matter, which is the old Alice Chalmers tractors that participate in our parade every year. The truck enthusiast group that placed the flags on Memorial Day, they want to be part of it. A couple car groups, Losers Car Club of Wisconsin is one of them. Leo Jankowski, who is a member of the Midwest Military Vehicle Association, has a number of members in his club that have old military Jeeps and old military trucks that want to participate in this parade. And Carol Zeiler from the Women's Club of Wisconsin, who asked for a donation, to give a donation to the parade, asked if they could have a convertible in the parade. So, you want to say that these groups don't want to be part of this? I think you're wrong. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you all for your heartfelt comments.
Madam Chair?
Any more discussion? Mayor Devine.
If I can, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Alderman Stefanski for answering all the questions. I sent him quite a list after the meeting last Tuesday, and I did have a lot of questions, and I do have a few left. On the COVID situation, it does concern me that this flies in the face of the gatherings that are being recommended, not orders, but suggested guidelines that we should be following. And we can argue about how this is going to be populated because it's the only one of the few parades in the area, or if it's not the parade that we're used to and nobody will go. We do not know that. But today, they announced, again, another 464 cases of COVID positive. And again, this can be argued with if it's due to increased testing or if it's seriously getting worse. We were shifted as an area to trending poorly in the fight against COVID. And I know people can say, well, if you don't want to go to the parade because you don't feel safe, don't go. I did have the concern that Alderman Weigel touched on about who's going to do enforcement if something does go south. That's the roll of the dice that this decision will take. But I also wanted to ask, and you had said at our last meeting that you were going to go forward with this, whether it was a city-sponsored event or not, and I wanted to see if that's still the case, because if it's just what is before us right now is if this is officially going to be a city-sponsored event or not, and not if there is going to be a parade or not. So that's, I guess my question is, if this is not a city-sponsored parade, there would probably still be a request for resources to make the parade go off, and I'm just curious where that's at.
Correct, and if that's the case, I will not be able to do it myself because I won't be able to pay the fees for it.
So that's...
So I wouldn't be able to pay Department of Public Works, I wouldn't be able to pay the police department, so.
So if this is not a city-sponsored parade, then
Yeah.
it would not go off?
I had been under the assumption that I would just have to pay a permit fee, but the way it's looking now, I would have more than that, so I would have to not do it as getting a permit for it myself.
Okay, and that's an important detail. I have concerns, I'm not gonna lie, and, you know, we see, like people have said earlier, we've got events that are being canceled, events that people have tried so hard to make something happen. You know, we just learned about drive-through cream puffs a couple days ago because, you know, the cancellation of State Fair. I do commend you for trying to do something. I'm not wholly convinced that this is the best thing to do right now.
Madam Chair, one more
Alderman
thing to address
Stefanski
that.
again.
One more thing to address that. We should also keep in mind that these hundreds and thousands of people that have been doing protests haven't been following the guidelines. At least we're putting out for the people who are coming to the parade some guidelines that we recommend them to follow. And if they choose to follow it, they're adults, that's their own choice. So I just wanted to make that point, because these protests are not following that, and they're doing them with not wearing masks and not being 6 feet apart and getting in people's faces, you know, so that was just one point I wanted to make.
Madam Chair,
Alderman Road.
I guess I'm not confused, I guess a little upset because 7 days ago, we were 10-0 all in favor of this parade, and now we're moving the goalposts. And I'm sure Tracy put a lot of effort into this. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are planning on going to this. I just think we should go forward this. My God, I mean, we're talking about all the, what if this happens? What if that happens? We could get hit by a meteor that day, for crying out loud. Let's just do it and see if it works. So if you want me to put that in the form of a motion, I will. I move that we go forward with the parade. That's my motion.
Second.
Do I understand, Mayor, that you would withdraw the support of the of our city of West Dallas?
Well, it's not my decision unless it's a 5-5 vote. I mean, unless I break a tie, it's
Right.
a council decision.
Okay. Are we ready for the vote?
Madam
It's
Chair,
been
one
moved
more
and
thing.
seconded.
One
Any
more-
more discussion?
One more thing, if I may. We've had money set aside for this parade for a year now. Where is that money going to go?
To next year's parade.
What?
To next year's parade. Or fireworks.
No, I would bet not, because of the structural deficit situation that we're in right now. We're going to say, no, we can't.
One firework?
Well, maybe we can all go rubber eyes real high.
One firework.
My motion is to go through with this parade.
Yeah, that's been
It's
seconded.
been moved
And I
and seconded.
seconded
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yes, moved and seconded. Any more discussion now? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No,
4 to 1.
Was it 2? 3?
4 to 1.
That's- Okay. 4 in favor, 1 opposed? Carried.
You voted for it.
Yes.
Can I move to adjourn?
I entertain a motion to,
Move to adjourn?
it's been
Second.
a long meeting.
Yes, it has.
Like we just got here.
It's been moved. Was there a second?
Second.
Moved and second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, people.
Okay, we will call the full council back to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Here.
Kuhn. Lysick.
Here.
Reinke.
Here.
Road.
Here.
Stefanski.
Here.
Tenorio.
Here.
Vitale.
aye, here.
Weigel.
Here.
Grisham.
Here.
10 present.
We have a quorum, and Administration and Finance Committee, chaired by Alderman Haas. I will ask the clerk to summarize those items.
Items 2 through 4. 2 was approved, 4 was adopted, 3 was adopted, and 4 was adopted.
And it should be 2 is placed on file.
2 was placed on file. Thank you.
And Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the committee report.
Okay, we have a motion of approval. Is there any discussion on the Administration and Finance report? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Aye.
Kuhn. Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Road.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
10 in favor.
Item carries. Thank you. Next up, we have the Safety and Development Committee. I'll I will ask our clerk to read out those two items. One was placed on file.
Number 6 was voted on to adopt by a vote of 4 to 1. Alderperson Haas voted no.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of item 6, the resolution.
Second.
We don't need
Oh,
those
don't
anymore.
need second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the Safety and Development Committee report. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas,
No.
Kuhn, Lysick,
Aye.
Reinke,
No.
Rote,
Aye.
Stefanski,
Aye.
Uh,
Tenorio,
Aye.
Vitale,
Aye.
Weigel,
Aye.
Grisham,
Aye.
8 in favor, 2 opposed.
Motion carries. And then next up, we have the License and Health Committee.
Mr. Mayor,
I'll ask the clerk to summarize that report before we get the motion. Alderman Vitale?
License and Health Committee voted on item number 7 to pass. Number 10 to approve. Number 11 to approve as amended at the committee at 5:30. Item number 12 to approve as amended. Do you want to vote 12 out separate?
Yes, please.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, now do you want to make a motion to approve that, Alderman Vitale?
Yes, make a motion to approve by the License and Health Committee, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any discussion on the License and Health Committee report?
Mayor Devine, I have a question.
Yeah, Alderman Tenorio.
So what happens to item 8 that's referred to the Board of Health then, or what?
It goes back to the License and
Goes
Health.
back to License and Health Committee, and it'll be referred to the Board of Health, and the Board of Health will report back to the License and Health Committee at a later date.
Okay, so that's not something we're voting on right now?
Oh, you don't vote on it? 'cause
No,
it was-
no,
That's-
no.
that's
Committee
already-
acted on that already.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, we went-
concluded. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas,
Aye.
Kuhn, Lysick,
Aye.
Reinke,
Aye.
Rote,
Aye.
Stefanski,
Aye.
Tenorio,
Aye.
Vitale,
Aye.
Weigel,
Aye.
Grisham,
Aye.
10 in favor.
Item carries. And then we have item 12, I believe,
Item number 12, field trip,
and that had a,
a vote of 4 to 1 with Reinke voting no.
thank you. Alderman Vitale, would you like to move approval?
Yeah, the committee report, Mr. Mayor, we should move for approval.
Thank you. Any discussion on item 12? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas,
No.
Kuhn, Lysick,
Aye.
Reinke,
No.
Rote,
Aye.
Stefanski,
Aye.
Tenorio,
No.
Vitale,
Aye.
Weigel,
Aye.
Grisham,
Aye.
7 in favor, 3 opposed.
Item carries. That concludes the License and Health Committee. We'll now go on to the Advisory Committee, where we have 2 items and then 1 reconsidered item.
Items 13 and 14 were voted on unanimously.
Okay. Alderperson Reinke, would you like to move approval of items 13 and 14?
Yes, I move to approve the committee report.
Thank you.
Divine.
Thank you. Any discussion on items 13 or 14?
Mayor Devine, am I obliged to abstain on item number 13? And should it be read out separately?
Sure. We'll take items 13 and 14 separately. So on item 13, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas,
Aye.
Kuhn, Lysick,
Aye.
Reinke,
Aye.
Rote,
Aye.
Stefanski,
Aye.
Tenorio,
Aye.
Vitale,
Aye.
Weigel,
Abstain.
Grisham,
Aye.
9 in favor, 1 abstained.
Motion carries, and now we have item 14. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas,
Aye.
Kuhn, Lysick,
Aye.
Reinke,
Aye.
Rote,
Aye.
Stefanski,
Aye.
Tenorio,
Aye.
Vitale,
Aye.
Weigel,
Aye.
Grisham,
Aye.
10 in favor.
Item carries. And then we have the reconsideration item number 1.
Was voted on 4 to 1 in committee with Vitale voting no. Alderperson Haas,
Aye.
I'm sorry, we need a motion.
Yeah. Alderperson Reinke, would you like to move approval of the committee report on that one?
reconsideration, the parade.
Aye.
No, move approval, please.
Oh, move to approval.
Adoption of the committee report, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there any discussion? We have discussed. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Haas.
Aye.
Kuhn. Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
No.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
No.
Grisham.
Aye.
8 in favor, 2 opposed.
Item carries.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting, Tuesday, July 14th at 7 PM.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are adjourned.